the corner, the All-American, Brian Stan!
I train with Max. Do you?
My leadership background, my military background really drew me to the current team I train with. When I went down to Albuquerque, New Mexico and met Greg Jackson and Mike Winklejohn, the head coaches there, I felt like I was back into a military environment. It's a very, very disciplined and detailed training camp, but the fighters that they allow to train there and become part of the team have a brotherhood like the military does. And we're always there for each other, always helping each other out. It was the best decision I ever made in my mixed martial arts career. I thrive down there. Me and my coaches see eye to eye on many, many things. They think strategically like I do. It is very similar to the Marine Corps, and I think that's why I've been successful there.
Happy birthday, dear Anthony! Happy birthday to you!
I don't know if it was like, well, first thing we're gonna do is make sure we have camaraderie, but I think it's just a good heart. My little brother, Greg Jackson, basically just has a good heart, and he was always wanted to help others. He didn't want to fight himself, he just wanted to help others, and I think it's evolved. And we pick people, and people have come in that are good people, and people that are not good have a tendency to get beat up a little bit and get pushed away. But you know, you got the Brian Stans, who's a great leader. You got the Clay Guidas coming in that just will do anything for anybody, and it just rubs off on everybody else.
Nobody works harder than he does. You know, he leads by example. He's first one in, last one out, and he sets the bar high. And everybody on his team, if you want to be on that team, you better be prepared to work.
Brian is a true athlete that trains and aspires to be the best. And he wants to get there by using the right supplements. And you know, we're the company for that. We're gonna be able to give him the ability to, nutritionally, to be even better as an athlete. And he's a perfect part of our company to show that, you know, we're not only a bodybuilding brand, but we're a whole athletic brand.
Dude, he's got a laundry list of nicknames, you know?
I call him the last Boy Scout. You know what I mean? He's the most genuine guy you'd ever meet.
I call him the American.
Yeah. Meathead.
Jarhead? I hope he's not listening.
The Body, we call him the Body.
Buzz Lightyear is a big blockhead.
Leatherneck, Stanimal. It's one his wife told us, you know, it's funny. He was like, "Hon," you know, like, no, you know, and it's Stanwich, because the guy loves to eat sandwiches, you know, so we call him Stanwich.
It's hard to put a nickname on just, you know, determination. I really think, you know, he's the most well-spoken, the most articulate fighter slash businessman in the mixed martial arts world.
You know, I train with Brian. He's family, you know, we support each other in all aspects of the game.
He's a great training partner. He knows how to push himself. He always wants to learn, and I think, you know, especially when other people come in, even if they're kind of beginning and they see, you know, someone like Brian Stan wanting to learn more, I think it's a great role model for the team, definitely.
He's a leader, you know, he's a leader, and he comes in here, and even though there's team captains, you know, B Stan's one of those guys, you know, he's always, you know, mentoring other guys, up-and-comers, you know, he's always got some great advice, you know, and sometimes he's a Marine here too, you know, and that's cool to have, you know. I remember telling Brian, I was like, man, that is so cool whenever he meets a fellow Marine that they always say "oorah," or they say something real like traditional and like real. I think it's a huge bonding like type thing, you know. And I told him, I said, man, I would love to be able to say "hoorah" or, you know, or something like that. And he's like, hey, you train a Marine, right? And I was like, yeah, I guess I do. And he's like, well, you can say it, you know. And coming from a captain, man, if he says I can say it, then, you know, I always text him, "hoorah," you know, or say it to him, you know. So it's awesome, man. I mean, it's been a great experience.
Reflecting on the past experiences in the military, And the men who I lost and my friends that are no longer here, that's always been my ritual. That's what I think about when I'm in the locker room before I go out there. And you know, that's what I think about when it's over. You know, one of my best friends, Travis Mannion, was an awesome wrestler at the Naval Academy, and he was with me when we first started doing this, and he was gonna start doing it, and he died in an ambush, and you know, it's always been real tough. You know, these kids go through so much, and then they come home and they deal with a lot. I dedicated the fight against Lieben to Garrett Meisner. This young man had an opportunity to get out of the military after 2 combat tours where he performed very well. And instead, he re-enlisted. And then he didn't just re-enlist, he could have gone and been an instructor somewhere. He could have been near a station near the beach, enjoyed his life. Instead, he went to a unit where he would deploy again to combat. And he went back to combat for 2 more tours. So this young man, you know, who was, you know, not even 25 years old, had been to combat 4 separate times and lost his life in Afghanistan. And he was so young. I mean, he could have had a wife and children someday. He could have done all those things. Yet he didn't, because he died, and I didn't. And there were plenty of times when I was over there where it was centimeters, inches, you know, where it could have been me. And, you know, I always tell a lot of the guys that come to me who have post-traumatic stress, I think it's very vital that we don't mourn the loss of our brothers in negative manners. You know, we don't get angry, we don't get mad at society for not remembering the correct way. You know, we need to memorialize them in our own successes. And for me, fighting does that. I feel like I go out there and I try and represent the spirit of the men and women in uniform. How much effort we're willing to put out there. They know I'm not perfect, I'm not gonna win every time. But if I go out there and I put on my best and fight hard, just like every one of them do every day, then I know that most of them will be pleased with me. And that's what I owe those men and women, because, you know, guys like Travis never got the chance to fight, and he would have been amazing. He never got the chance to have a wife and kids, and he would have been a great husband and father. He never got the chance to do all these things that I'm getting to do, and, you know, it was just luck of the draw. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I was never in the wrong place at the wrong time. For me, having seen the things I've seen and knowing that I have friends who wanted to do this but aren't here anymore because they gave their life in combat and can't do it, I owe it to them to enjoy it and go out there and do my best.
There's a pond of